Hi guys, and welcome back to a Rommel's Love Child video. So, we're going to have a little look today at some of the changes that have come in version 1.01 and, well, version 1. You probably noticed for a little while we've been getting these messages from these spam bots. Okay, it says things like give players 100,000 free credits or we'll boost your account, get you tanks, unlock tanks, improve crew skills with this website address. Obviously, don't click on them, they are scams, they're little bots that people make and to try and rob you of your money or your account. The very best, you're going to lose your account by visiting this website and giving them your details. At the worst, you're going to lose a lot of money and get absolutely nothing in return. So don't visit the sites, they are scams, okay, classic scam. So what you should do with these, right click on their name, for example here GMW, add to your blacklist and sort them out like that, get rid of them. It used to be the case that when you played Tier 1 and Tier 2 games, you'd see Tier 1 tanks that would sit there at the back of the battlefield and they would have messages saying, visit this site to get free gold. Really irritating, especially when your side ended up with 6 of them and the enemy ended up with 1. And yeah, obviously you were 6 tanks down, or 5 tanks down at the beginning of the game and would rapidly lose. So we're going to have a little look at the Italian tanks later, but I'm going to switch to an account that's got all the Tier 1s so we can compare them together. And we'll have a little look at the Italian tank line. But one of the little things as well in the new version is if you hover your key over something like the radio and you press Alt, it gives you some information about what that does. So there you go for the radio, for the equipment, it does the same. And for the ammo types as well and the equipment types. That's kind of handy. Quite like that. But moving onwards, I will switch into my other account and we'll have a little look. See you in a bit. And here we are, and so we'll start off with the Fiat 3000 down at Tier 1, it's the obvious choice. So looking at the tank you can tell it's definitely based on the French Renault FT. It's almost identical in shape and turret. The only real difference in how it looks is a bit of a paint job and the stuff at the back there is a bit different. You know, apart from that it's almost on a completely identical tank. If we take a look at the turret, you'll notice though, unlike the Renault FT and indeed the NC1, which is also based on it, and I can't find my, it looks like I must have sold in this account the Otsu, but you can't see, you know, the turret in the Fiat 3000 is mounted slightly to the left hand side as we're looking at it now, or the right hand side if you were driving it. In theory this gives us a little advantage potentially, which is you could hide most of your tank if you can find a hull down position and a rocky outcrop and just stick the turret out, then you'll only be exposing just this part of your tank here, the gun part of your tank, to enemy fire. Obviously that's advantageous. You've got a big cupola up here, or cupola I think it should be pronounced, but it's not too much of a problem really, because if you look at the armour, 16 mils, pretty much everything is going to penetrate you straight through any part of your armour. You're not really going to bounce much unless you get one absorbed in the tracks. Okay, it's not going to do a great deal. For example, if we have a look at the Swedish tank, just to pick randomly, you've got an average penetration of 33 mils, so you're going to easily go through that armour with your basic gun. Okay, we'll have a little look at the armaments on the Fiat 3000 now. So it comes firstly with the Cannoni da 3720, and it's got a reasonable rate of fire. Its accuracy is pretty bad at 0.5, but it's not the worst. Aiming time of 2 seconds. If we have a look at the Cannoni da 3740, what we notice there is the aiming time is the same, the dispersion is 0.42, and we're getting a better damage per minute, although a reduced rate of fire, only 21.4 rounds per minute, which isn't a great deal difference. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mount that straight away. Ignore that, I'm going to use my free experience. And we can notice there that the gun is a longer barreled gun, which explains its increased accuracy and also its increased penetration. Doesn't really explain too much its increased damage. Now, I wouldn't really advise, you know, spending too long and too much worrying about equipment and stuff in a Tier 1. However, camo net and binocular telescopes can always be useful and can be dismounted. I wouldn't get any equipment that needs to be permanently mounted. As for crew skills, personally, seeing as the Italian tech tree at the moment is only mediums, I would go for the kind of standard medium tank things. So this, could be repairs, could be concealment if you liked on the commander, for example. It could be the recon to improve your view range. Don't get sixth sense, as I've talked about in a previous video about crew skills. Don't get that straight away. For the driver, again, repairs, concealment, probably good as well, but also good for the driver, seeing as you're going to be shooting on the move in the mediums. You might want to go for smooth ride, or you might want to go for off-road driving to help your terrain resistance. But I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm just going to load up some ammunition. I don't need quite that much. There's no need for premium on tier 1. There is a need always for first aid kit and small repair kit. And click OK. And we'll go into a little game and we'll see how it performs. Okay, and here we go. We're on mines. It's obviously a Fiat 3000 party. It's not as bad as it was the other day when it first came out, when literally everyone was playing in it. Obviously trying to grind their way up. So we'll give it a little go, see how it performs. It's fairly average in all its abilities. It's armor average for the tier, and redundant. On this tier you're not going to use your armor very well. Your mobility again is average. Your aiming time, everything about this tank is bang average. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it plays out. The only good thing, I suppose, is it does have a very high DPM, but look at the size of that aiming circle. That's pretty huge, especially when we're moving. Or turn the turret, or turn the tank, it just flares up. So it's not a tank that you're going to be doing a lot of shooting on the move with. Does have 10 degrees of depression, but again, without any turret armor, that means nothing, because you're not really going to hold down effectively. But a lot of the time, this area up here, the hill, is the big area to fight and contest. Whoever wins this generally controls the map. And if you control the map, you can have a better time of it. So I'm going to wait my time, hope this MS1 will pop out again and I'll be able to put one in his turret. Again, I'm trying to expose only that front part of my turret and not the rest of my tank. So I put one in him, he runs away. Must have missed, so I'll wait for him to pop out again. Which I'm sure he will do any second now. Patience is one of the great things in this game, one of the great virtues. But I'm obviously feeling impatient today. Shit day at work. So I just want to kill things. See if I can take out this camper at the back. I mean, it's not a bad tactic, to be honest, firing from up there. It's generally advisable to have somebody doing it, so I've tracked him, I know that. There we go. So even though he's disappeared, I knew he was still there. So racking out the fire. Got lucky with that track, and he hit my track. So notice that didn't penetrate. That's because he hit my track. Lack of accuracy coming into effect there. I'm taking a fire again from a T1, which is up on the hill somewhere, and he spotted me, and I can't tell that I've been spotted. So I'm going to push forwards. I'm now no longer be able, at this angle, going to be able to cover that flank, so I'm going to try and push up here without being spotted by the Otsu down at the bottom. And don't want to be proxy spotted. Can maybe try and hide behind this dead tank here. Use him as armour, as it were. And we spot that T1 up on the hill. Put one in. And there's another Fiat 3000 up there. I'm taking quite a lot of fire from quite a lot of people here, so I'm probably going to die here. Be lucky to survive this one. Especially without repairing my gun, because of the accuracy. This is where I wish I had binoculars, because it would help me spot the guys up there. try and track him. There we go. Shame I didn't damage him at the same time. He was obviously quite good because he was spotting me and firing at me without me being able to spot him. So remove him from the game. And he looks like he's pointing his gun right at me. He is. Ah, dead. Okay, so altogether, you know, fairly reasonable. That DPM is quite good. It's got a good rate of fire. The gun's got good penetration. The damage isn't great. You know, it's not the best damaging gun in the tier. For example, the medium one's got a much better damage ratio. I think it can almost one-shot most tanks if you use HE. But yeah, I quite like the tank, the Fiat 3000. It's quite nice. Like I said, it's fairly average. It's not good at anything in particular much, apart from the DPM. And hopefully Kits will get the last kill. And he's got a nice view of that medium one's backside. And there we go. Game's over. So we'll have a little quick look through the Italian tech tree now after this game. Look at that. There you go. Ace tanker. Total damage of 472, which is good for tier 1, I guess. A few bits of spotting, 4 kills, fairly decent, and it's unlocked the next tanks. So let's have a little look at what comes later. So I'll unlock both of these. And if we have a look at the tech tree, zoomed out, we find that we've got the 2 different types, choices at tier 2. We've got a medium and a light, and then it goes into the mediums. Okay, the first one, the M14 Mark 41, the medium, has got obviously the more kind of characteristics of medium. So it's got 42 mils of frontal turret armor, 30 mils of frontal hull armor, which is pretty good for tier 1. The light though is not far behind. It's got the same kind of frontal turret hull armor, but weaker turret armor. Does mean that the M14 is potentially a bit better at hull down, and could maybe bounce some shots, but it's still not going to be massively reliable. Okay, then we go into their line properly. Okay, and we find out they're all medium tanks, but they're based on heavy tanks, so a lot of them have got fairly good armor for their tier. Okay, so 80 mils of frontal hull armor, but admittedly the turret armor, the standard turret, is weak, and so is the upgraded turret. So I've not played this line yet. Apologies there. So it carries on, and it carries on, and then we start to get, as we go later down, we start to get the fancy guns, okay, with the auto reloader. Okay, and that's the new idea, that you can fire one shell and it will reload in a short amount of time. If you fire a second shell, then it'll take a little bit longer. If you fire all your shells, it's going to take much longer to reload your full clip, which does give some interesting gameplay, and I'll try and show that when I eventually grind up to them. But that's a mission for another day. So the Italian tanks, you're going to see a lot of them in the games. They tend to have good frontal armor later on, so try and get around their flanks and hit them in the sides. Obviously it doesn't really matter with the first tiers, they're fairly easy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little video. It's a nice way to unwind after a difficult day at work, and I hope to see you on the battlefields. Remember to like, subscribe, share the videos, and if there's anything that you want me to do, please leave that in the comment below. And how's the new mic sounding? Hopefully it's a lot clearer than the last one. It's not perfect, it's not an expensive mic. I'm a poor teacher, I can't afford the more salubrious mics. Alright, take care guys, see you on the battlefield, bye bye.